think that we've got the gods in line and they decided to agree with us to come here this morning. What's up? So before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody for joining on YouTube or Facebook or any of the, I guess, podcasts that you guys could be watching from. Today's a great, beautiful Tuesday morning in the fall. We have a lot to talk about. Ricardo's here, Amber's here, Jason's coming, and Gabe as well. So this is episode number 62 of Tuesday Feelings with Ricardo Sturdivant. Please let us know in the comments if these things are working, where you're beaming in from. Also tag a friend who loves tattoos as much as we do. While we test these live streams, I'll let you know about the network that you're on and what some of the things that we're up to are. This is Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community and Network, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and of course the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events to share and inspire to create better art and tattoos together daily. You can find the Reinventing the Tattoo either app stores, Apple or Google, YouTube, and Roku as well. Our 12 to 15 channels are going live at any time, so you guys can watch us 24/7 in your shop with your clients, any of the above. All of the major podcast directories have a podcast, so if you missed this today, hop over to Apple or Spotify to check us out. No matter where you're watching live or on demand, the latest and greatest, of course, is very, very easy to find anytime at our website, reinventingthetattoo.com. You guys can try out for free some of the sample webinars from the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon, which has advice from Guy Aitchison about your unique goals, comprehensive tattoo history courses from Jay Brown, an event schedule with full weekly and special event live stream details, which can be found at the bottom of our website if you scroll down, if you want to join today or any future podcasts. Scroll down to the calendar and click the Zoom link. We also have professional development courses from 20 world-class tattooers on that same exact site, so I recommend getting lost on there. We're also always looking to expand our toolkits, and nothing beats those quick, simple tricks that can make all of the difference. I know from experience that it's usually a bit more complicated. It's like a full, well-rounded understanding of the process. So Guy Aitchison has been putting a lot of work into that, so you guys definitely check it out. Some of the other weekly stuff that we have going on, you guys, that you haven't seen or do every Sunday at 1 p.m. is a Reinventing drawing group with Jason Leeser. 9 a.m. is Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom. 11 a.m. is a Tattoo Weekly, and 5 is Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Rapole. 9 p.m. Subscribers with led by Sandy McAndrew. Also Tuesdays right here with Ricardo Sturdivant. Wednesdays at 1 is the Tattoo Now show, and Thursdays at 6 is Tattoo Collecting 101. Thank you to everybody for helping us put this together. Of course, Guy Aitchison, the inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. Tattoo Now, which is technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattooers. Upgrades and competitive with any CRM mailing list software. I could talk about Dave. Dave is on the line. So if you guys want to go ahead and leave some positive reviews, we always welcome those. If you'd like to host something like this or sponsor a community or get some critiques, hit us up at management@reinventingthetattoo.com. All right, guys. Jason, you're in the house. I loved seeing Jason this week. Ricardo, I wish you could have made it out to West Virginia. What a cool. I miss you already, Jason.
Oh, you are too sweet.
I meant to tell you, I went to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning this morning, finally.
Well, that's awesome. I was going to say, you've been running on like next to no energy like all weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean, conventions will do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they will.
How are you?
Do. I'm doing pretty good. I'm still a little under the weather, so I'm sorry if I'm sounding congested and stuff like that, guys, but I'm here. I missed last week because of the same thing. I was down and out. It knocked me down for a couple days, but we're back. Good morning,
Is it
Amber.
Ebola?
Good morning.
Did you catch Ebola?
He's got immunity.
Did you die?
It's not
you
the
died,
tumor.
didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I've been resurrected.
Yeah.
As this shell of me myself.
What's been going on in your world?
Mine, not too much really. I've been staying busy with some tattoos and stuff like that. Getting on the ball with some drawings and everything for those tattoos. Been doing pretty good with it. Totally inspired by Jason's setup at the booth and stuff like that, man. I saw some pictures on Instagram maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I
think
I posted a video.
Posted it in the yeah. I saw it somewhere. I can't remember, but that was an awesome setup, dude. It looked really comfy in that station, in that booth, man.
Oh yeah, Elaine and I were having a blast the whole time. I mean, the entrance to the booth was a little tiny, and that was a little weird, but everything ended up working out great.
It was
That's killer.
open. It was like it made its own little environment.
It really did. And I was
That's
the only booth there that had that kind of a setup, so I kind of stuck out.
yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
what you're looking for, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
It's good. You know what I mean? It's good to have some flow and stuff like that in your station and everything like that, especially with like just the tight space that you're in and with the amount of people. Well, I'm assuming that there's a lot of people there too, right?
120 artists, a couple thousand people stopped in over the weekend.
Nice, dude.
Nice.
Nice.
It was a smaller show, but it was very well organized. Everything was on point. Everything was done. I think they were running on time. I think it was probably like 85% of the time.
I can show you guys a little screen share from the event. That was kind of cool. We tried to set up
Yes.
the live stream, but anytime in a convention that it'll be hard to do. But the cool things was we set it up to talk to Dennis and Chris while Kyle walked around.
Pampering artists.
So this guy here on the left is sporting Tony Urbanic's Rubber City shirt. That's Dennis from Breaking Skin Tattoo. Dennis put on the show when we recognized Chris. So if you guys want to catch Jason's episode, we had a lot of coverage. Jason's booth was right over here.
To make it a real art show, not about the industry, but about the art of tattooing.
That was Chris's booth. That's actually them talking right now.
It's like 20 years, 22 years, somewhere in there. That was my absolute first convention I went to.
I will say I must love you because I.
So if you guys want to check out any of that, make sure to do that.
And I
See
really
what
want
the
to go
show's
to
like.
that. So
And he changed this weekend.
There it is. There's his booth. Look at that. That's super cool. Sorry, I was watching the lagged kind of video on
Oh, okay.
YouTube here. And that's awesome. That looks killer, Jason.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think you even saw any of that yet, Jason.
I haven't. I'm still technically unpacking from the trip. So
Yeah.
That was going to
Well-
be my next question for you, actually. Is the amount of gear that you had to take. Did you find yourself with a couple extra bags or what was going on?
Oh yeah, dude, I way overpacked. I mean, I can't even candy coat it like I did. I massively overpacked. But it was worth it in the end, in my opinion, because I didn't have to worry about anything. I think I had to buy one thing while I was there. As far as supplies go, so I really didn't have to worry about anything. It was great.
Radical.
Yeah.
It's radical, man. How did the flash go? 'Cause I know
I
that you had
sold
prepared quite a bit of it.
I sold one set of big prints out of 10, so that was
Nice.
cool. And I think I only sold like 2 small prints out of
Okay.
the 5 of each that I ran.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I didn't really do too well as far as merch sales go, but it's always hit or miss with stuff like that,
It really is. Conventions are like one of those things, you know what I mean? That's one of the things I think you and I have talked about a couple of times too is appointments at these conventions or walk-ups. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's almost good for me to have a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Like if you can set up like maybe one solid day of appointments or one big appointment and just kind of hang out for the rest of the time and see what happens. You know what I mean? I think that's probably one of the best ways to go with it. Some people
So
want to be
that's-
working the entire time they're there, and sometimes you fall into a project that allows it to happen. But I think one of the best things to do is have one day where it's going to be pretty reliable, where you at least cover your costs. You know what I mean? As far
Yeah.
as the reality of things, traveling and such.
So I followed your advice and I gave that a shot during this show. And I was going to say, man, it worked way better than I could have ever hoped.
Nice.
So I front loaded I had one big appointment on Friday. And because of that, I was able to make my money back for the weekend, my money back for the hotel, the whole trip, made all that back on Friday. I did a smaller tattoo on Saturday, and then, just kind of hung out and did a few walk-ups on Sunday. So, well, for the second half of Saturday and then all day Sunday was just all walk-ups. So
Nice.
it was awesome. It was way more relaxed time. I wasn't out there stressing about money trying to get people in. I will say this. I do have to give a very, very big and very special thank you to one of my new friends. And that is
Uh,
hold on.
so new we forgot your name.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Well, and then when you go to conventions, man, you meet so many people. Sometimes it's hard to remember. Like I find myself always going, "I'm sorry, dude. I know I met you. I know we shook hands, but what was your name again?"
It makes me feel like it's a talent when you remember that stuff.
It really is.
I try
It's
really hard.
It's a skill, isn't it?
So
it's like an
it's
acquired skill.
Carmen Parker, owner of Raven's Anchor Tattoo and Body Piercing in Jefferson, Ohio. Big shout out to you, man. You kept my motivation going this whole weekend. This dude was literally walk up after walk up after walk up after walk up, working until the absolute last minute every single day.
Nice.
And he was just crushing it left and right. He even told me, like, listen, I didn't book any appointments. I'm here doing all walk-ups.
Nice.
Awesome.
If you were to
Yeah.
ask an artist, like obviously I speak to artists, around the world, and it's so interesting to see in, say, for example, Australia. They're going to go to a weekend just like that, and they're going to pull and make, and they kind of compete amongst themselves for how much they could make rather than what award they could win. So they try to affect many, many people, but a typical weekend would be about like 12 to 15,000 doing it like that.
Dang.
Dear Lord.
That's what
Yeah,
I said.
that's
How do you, but it's
Wow.
literally the goal when you go to a convention is to work and affect yourself or affect as many people, rather than it is to, like, the awards aren't necessarily the primary objective. Doing fantastic art and such is, but not quite as competitive in that regard. They kind of almost laugh at us a little bit. Is, well, at least the consistent, what they're telling me over there is what they say.
I think there is something to be said for that too. And I was having this discussion with a couple of other people. They asked me if I was entering anything into any of the contests. And I said, no, that's not my purpose for being here. And they just gave me this weird, like, little look, like I was growing a second head from my shoulders. And it's like, that's not why I do these. I do these shows to go and do good tattoos and to meet people and to network and to learn and to make money and not to chase a trophy around. Like, if I don't, win a trophy, I don't care. That's not
That's
a
a-
big deal.
One thing I was
That's not
going
my
to say, I have to
purpose.
dip out real quick, and then maybe you guys can all talk about this. I'd love to hear your perspective, Amber, Ricardo. So one of the tattoos that won Best of Show at a previous event that some of us may have been at, I saw it healed at the show this weekend. And I was thinking, like, was it really necessary to work on this person for multiple days for the award when she's walking around with a tattoo that was done too fast? What type of purpose is sacrificing the client for the award? Where's that line with some of the stuff? Like, they're going really crazy, at some of these events these days, 3-day collaboration projects and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
Man, personally, I think that that's one of those things that falls into the category of who is this for? Like you're saying, is it for the client or is it for the ego? You know what I mean? I think the ego plays a large part when it comes to competitions and things like that. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to prove something, but to who? You know what I mean? And what's it really for? I think if it's going to be based off of the fact that you're trying to get notoriety and stuff like that, like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I personally I'm on more on the lines of with Jason, where it's like I'm there to do some good tattoos. I'm there to hang out, and if it falls into place, like one of the coolest awards for me is when another artist comes up and they look at your work and they go, "Hey, man, that looks pretty good. Like, what did you do there?" or they ask you questions about the tattoo that you're doing. That's the best. That's the best thing for me. I don't know, Jason. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's something that that's actually what you just mentioned, is something that I noticed a lot of when I was up at the Deadly show in Canada. You don't have, 18 people competing for an award up in Canada. You don't. That doesn't happen. In fact, very few people actually went to go and enter any contest, which I thought was really interesting because, like, that's the complete opposite of here, where at any given, big show, you can have up to 60 to 80 people all entering a contest.
Hi,
And
Creature.
it's like,
Thanks for coming on too. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, hey. Oh, my video's not on.
Trying to figure it out. Can you hear me?
Hey there.
Ken,
We can hear you.
welcome, creature.
Good morning, Mr. Sturdivant.
Yeah.
Great to have you here.
Good to have you
Thank
here.
you. If I mess this up, I'm sorry. First time, second time.
You're welcome. I still
Thank you.
stumble. It's okay.
Love the show, everybody.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome,
you.
welcome.
Thank you. I love the video from the convention. This is not working. Work?
There you go. All
Try.
right, close enough.
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
So,
prop something up behind it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect.
I'll agree. Synthetic. Anyway, please continue.
Yes. So that was something I picked up on up in Canada at the Deadly show. No one really was trophy hunting, right? No one really cared about it. They were like, yeah, me being here and me having someone come over and compliment my work, that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't need a trophy to say that I was at a show. I think that's definitely something that's gotten ingrained. Actually, to be honest with you, I think the origins of that come from the London convention.
Really?
This is my philosophy. I could be wrong, but this is what I think.
Let's hear it.
A few years back at the London Tattoo Convention, there were a couple of guys that were just crushing it left and right, right? One guy got his entire front from like his jawline to his belt line completely done start to finish in 3 days, and that dude took home best of show. And the trophies at the London show are ridiculous, right? They're absolutely ridiculous. They're all like handmade by, some artisan somewhere, and they're like the biggest, most ridiculous trophies you will ever see. Actually, and the guy's name is Julian Siebert. He did a guy's like entire bottom jaw all the way down to his belt line, start to finish in 3 days, and it took home best of show.
Wow.
That was the first time anyone had ever seen that. So, yeah, great, awesome. The next year, best of show, and I believe this was 2017, was a 6-person collaborative back piece. It was one of the first times the Rat Pack ever got together. If you guys don't know the Rat Pack, it's
I can try and pull it up too for you.
yeah, it's guys like Arlo, Steve Butcher.
Oh, man.
It's like a who's who of like realism tattooing, right? These guys
Steve
sat
Butcher's
down.
work is amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen his black and gray work?
Yeah, dude, it's that's the only stuff I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen any of his color work, but like it's the first time that I started recognizing like a lot of the morphed kind of images. You know what I mean?
Here's a screenshot of the Rat Pack. We've got an incredible amount. Miko is one of my favorites. Dave Paolo, Benjamin Locus, Sam Barber.
Yep.
Steve Butcher's not necessarily
Sam
my
Barber,
favorite, but
dude.
Jack Connolly, absolutely. Check this stuff.
And these
Sam
guys
Barber's work
all
is
sit
amazing.
down- They all sit down and collaborate on one tattoo.
Oh, how fun.
Right.
Did you see how long ago they posted though?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I wonder if they're still doing anything. This is, pre-COVID.
Well, I was going to say if it was pre-COVID, because it's probably COVID that slowed a lot of things down.
Yeah, because they're all over the world.
Yeah.
This
That wasn't
Man, dude.
That wasn't in Paris. That was London. That was the one that took home best of show at London that year. And I know that only because I was there for it.
Yeah, let me know if you
Um,
see it in this when I scroll in. Oh, these are some legends. That's a great great
Yep.
line. Absolutely. Can you guys name some of these guys?
Joe Cup. Is that?
You know
I
Joe
can't
Cap
really. Yeah, I didn't say that's Joe Cap.
and Jesse and
Is
Cindy.
that?
Yeah.
That's on the
Carlos.
right there. What's his name? Damn it,
You can do it.
Boris. Boris. What's his name?
Okay. And
And let me see.
I don't know
Let's see.
him personally, but if anyone in the comments wants to comment too.
It's right there on the screen.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, yeah, there we go.
But yeah, these guys work
Kimiko.
together really well. And Sam, Carlos. So guys, if you want, we could petition for them to come back.
Jess
Post-COVID.
Yen is awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jess Yen is dope.
Yeah.
Usually just tattoos at Golden State if anyone's ever around.
That dude's got like a
So-
2-year wait list or something.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
But
without
it's,
question.
everything he does is flawless though, dude. It's just flawless. Like the composition is so strong, dude. Like he's definitely one of my inspirations to like go to compositions whenever I'm like, okay, what can I do to change this up a little bit? You know what I mean? Like let's check out Jess Yen's work today.
Right.
When I was at Golden State the last time, he had just, I don't know how the journey works with him, but his apprentice or something had just graduated at one of the Golden States I was at. It was
Nice.
really, really cool to see how they go through that process and how sacred it really is to, follow in his footsteps.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, that goes back. It goes back to what we were saying with like the competitions. Like these guys, they're world renowned. You know what I mean? But I don't think that they set out to go into this work just strictly based off of I'm going to win an award today, or I'm going there to win these awards and stuff like it. It seems like it just kind of follows suit. You know, you do the right work, you put the effort and the time into it, and that's a reward enough to see the accomplishment. The time and effort that gets put into it.
I bring it all back to something that you and I have talked about many, many times, and that's we're not in this to compete with other people. We're in this to compete against ourselves.
So exactly. Yeah.
You know, as long as I can be 1% better than I was yesterday, that's all that matters. Right.
I don't think I'd want to sacrifice the longevity of a good tattoo just to win an award for one day.
Mm-hmm.
Because my name's going to be on that tattoo forever. Even 20 years from now, when it doesn't look as good as it would have been if I let those sessions heal between, rather than knocking it all out in 2 days just to win an award.
Mm.
And that's if you win.
That's if you win.
Yeah, you're gambling either way.
What
And
other
why would you want to
sensation,
gamble with the quality of your tattoos?
would you ever do that, Amber, in your regular everyday tattoo career?
Never.
Exactly.
I would never knock out a tattoo that I know needs more than one session in 2 days. It's not going to lend itself to the quality of my work.
Yeah. I've had people come in for big pieces that are very aggressive with their tattoos. And it's not really anything that I encourage by any means, but some people want their tattoos finished. So we're doing these large tattoos, like, 4 times a month, once every week, but we're planning it out to where we're doing sessions where we can finish an area and not have to go back into it. You know what I mean? And then going a little bit lower, going a little bit lower, going a little bit lower. I've done that before, and that's exhaustive on me too. You know what I mean? I don't know how some of these people come in like once a week like that sometimes.
Oh,
but then
no.
it's crazy.
Once a week.
Yeah. So I've had sleeves done in like a month and a half, sometimes a month.
If you were going to rush a piece, what type of art does the best with, like, say, a 3-day back to back to back? What type of? Because a lot of these guys are going for like illustrative or incredibly realistic speed sessions with really deep saturated areas. I feel like a lot of guys are going for that in these 3-day pieces, and it just seems not smart.
Yeah, so I've done a 2 day before, full sleeve, 2 days done. Um, and it healed up great, but it was all black and gray. So large
Right.
areas of gray wash. Um, we did the lines the first day, and then the dude came back and we did all of the black and gray shading the next day. Awesome. And like a couple of little white highlights at the end just because I'm neurotic. And it healed up great, but it
You're also
was
masochistic.
I have no issues. Well, I guess that would be more like I'm sadistic, not masochistic. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Sadistic,
no
yeah.
issues. Like if you're hurting, I'm sorry, but this is what you signed up for. Right? That's not my fault.
The whites,
Um,
dude.
after two 8 full 8 hour days back to back, and then hitting them with white during that last half hour.
Oof.
Yeah, I was using a pretty awesome trick though. I was using Bactine the whole time, so he was fine. Like he wasn't feeling anything within an hour.
Mhm.
But that healed up just fine, no issues. I think a lot of these guys that go through, if they don't get an area finished that quickly and they decide to go back into it the next day,
Oof.
that's when I think you start to see a lot of really poor healing.
Yeah.
And I mean, as long as they're working through and they're not going back into those parts that they haven't done yet, or they're not going back into the parts that they've already tried to completely saturate. As long as they're not touching that and they're leaving that alone, I could see everything healing up okay.
Right.
But I think it also depends on what everyone's using, like these guys that are out there doing massive full color 3 day pieces. If you're not taking into consideration the type of like pins on your needles that you're using, if you're not factoring that in and the amount of skin trauma that's causing, the amount of skin damage that's causing, what needs to be done, what and where, if you're not factoring in a lot of that stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have people that heal poorly. There's no doubt about it.
Mhm.
Like sitting down watching someone get a 3 day back to back to back or full frontal piece. Yeah. I mean, that artist, Julian Siebert, the one that took home Best of Show in 2016, came back and was trying to do the guy's whole back in 2017 in 3 days. Awesome. He was working in a very methodical start to finish manner where everything was complete in one section. When that section was done, he didn't go back to it. He didn't even look at it. He had it covered up with a paper towel. I don't know if that was for psychological reasons, so that he didn't touch it again and he didn't start to nitpick. But I noticed every time he would move on, he would cover it with a paper towel.
Was it saturated or was it dry?
Oh, it was completely saturated.
Okay, there you go.
Completely saturated.
That
I
probably
mean,
had to
every
to do
pore on
with.
this guy's back was so open I could have gone swimming in it.
Well, I'm talking about with the paper towel. Do you remember if that
No,
was
the paper
dry?
towel was just dry. It was just
Okay.
on there.
Huh.
It was dry. And I
Huh.
didn't know if that was to collect plasma as his skin was leaking plasma, or if that was to help block out his vision, but I think it served a dual purpose. Right. So, but I mean, he never went back into those first spots ever. Didn't
Yeah.
even think about him, right? And I
Right.
think as long as you work in that kind of a methodology, I don't see why things wouldn't heal up okay. But once again, it also depends on the amount of skin trauma that's caused.
Yeah.
I would say that it's all dependent on the artist and their technique and what the way that they approach the tattoo for sure. But I think black and gray can be approached the same way that it would be if you're layering a bunch of color too. You know what I mean? Depends on the amount of detail and stuff like that. It depends. I know like a lot of smooth gradient tones and stuff like that on bigger pieces can be done larger scale and in a more continuous manner like that, where it's like more hours put into it than you normally would anybody else. I think with the larger gradients, that's going to heal up just fine. It's going to look the way it did whenever it was applied. You know, the gradients might smooth down and tone down a little bit and everything like that, but that's kind of the vision of it overall. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Personally, I think I have done large pieces on people that have traveled from out of state, and it has been large black and gray stuff, and it usually does heal pretty well. I think the longest I've tattooed one kid from out of state was like 12 hours or something like that. You know what I mean? And that was that was more brutal on me than it was anybody else. To be honest with you, the kid could have sat for even longer, and I was like, dude, I'm done. Like, I'm finished. You know what I mean? And I think that has a lot to do with another thing, like, you know, with the artists themselves and their work ethic and like what they're willing to put out, how well they're willing to focus on what's happening and maintain that focus throughout. And I haven't seen a lot of people do that. You know what I mean? I've seen Guy do it personally, and that was incredible to see, like the way he worked on your leg for 2 days in a row and kept at it the entire time. You know what I mean? It's pretty amazing. I know in my later years, though, that's definitely not the route that I like to take. You know what I mean? I like to sit down for 4 to 6 hours on a person and be like, okay, I think we're done for the day. You know what I mean? I think that's all I can give you. You know, and be able to focus at that level of tattoo healing out well, and be able to have pride in it whenever they come into the shop and there's other artists and stuff taking a look at it too. You know, I think that's always been my biggest thing, is like, what are other artists going to think whenever they see it? Because I mean, there's always the layman, so to speak, with tattooing and art and things like that can look at something and go, that's amazing. And you're like, yeah, that it's like any other piece of art, you know, like there's a lot of abstract art out there that I can't appreciate, but it doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just that the way that I see things, I don't appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about that dude, Jason. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
So have you noticed that any clients are almost misunderstanding when they see these things happening? You know, have you dealt with that where they're like, well, I saw this advertised at so-and-so convention where they did this in 3 days. How come you don't want to do that? Have you had any of that at all?
Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. It's as simple as like some of these Pinterest tattoos that people bring into you for that they want to get tattooed on them as well. You know, like tattoos in nothing but white, for example. You know, they're like, they want this tattoo in all white, like a full sleeve or something, or like a big white tattoo. And you're like, dude, it's not gonna look good. They're like, but look, it's right here. You know, and they're showing it to you. It's like there's a proof of it that it can be done. I'm like, yes, that's a picture of the tattoo fresh. We're not talking about longevity. We're not talking about a month from now. We're not talking about 2 weeks from now. We're not talking about how it heals out or anything like that. We're just talking about this evidence that you're showing me of that present moment that's captured in time. Now you see it. It looks exactly like that forever, but that doesn't mean that it's going to look like that on you.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, I see that kind of things happening a lot. And like I've had other people say the same thing that you're actually asking about, to the point of, this large scale tattoo was done in this process. Why can't you do it? And I think it goes back into what I was saying a little bit ago about like each artist has their own methodology, like Jason was saying, you know, like it's their own technique, their own approach, you know, and can that artist even work like that? Can you even approach the idea of this concept of doing this large scale image in that amount of time? And there's a lot of work that goes into it, man. There's a lot of technique. There's a lot of like, you know, what's the right way to say it? There's a lot of gumption that kind of goes into that, even sitting down and attempting it. You know what I mean?
There's one important factor we're not bringing up, though.
Let's hear it.
In that you can sit down and you can have, you know, someone like Steve Butcher or Jess Yen or, you know, Nico Hurtado or, you know, Guy or whoever. It doesn't matter. Insert, you know, really well-known, really awesome quality artist here, right? Any of them. Once that client leaves, it's out of the artist's hands.
Mm-hmm.
We have no control over what happens to that tattoo once they leave. We can give them advice. We can give them directions. We can follow up with them. We can send them texts hour by hour, day to day. We can send them reminders on, hey, you need to lotion your tattoo now. Have you lotioned it yet? You haven't yet? Why not? You need to stop what you're doing. You need to lotion your tattoo right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't care if you're driving, pull over to the side of the road, lotion your tattoo. Oh, you're getting ready to jump out of a plane? Great. Do me a favor, real quick, take your parachute off and lotion your tattoo, right? You're scuba diving? Ask a shark to hold your scuba tank. Pull up your wetsuit and lotion your tattoo. I don't care. We can do everything that we can do. But at the end of it, we have zero control over how that tattoo is actually taken care of.
Yep. And that's not even to mention just the systemic things around them. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know about zero control. Because if I have the proper conversation with the right artist and they're like, look, what we're going to do is use tattoo armor. We're going to absorb that plasma. And then what we're going to do, like if I have the right conversation, and honestly, I feel like I need to have it with every single tattoo I ever get. I don't know about you guys, but
That's because you take care of your tattoos.
And
Mhm.
you also see them in a much different way than these other people that are getting tattooed do. You know what I mean? You see the investment, you see the importance of it, you see that process of sitting down with an artist, talking to them, trusting them enough to even tattoo you in the first place. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then it's the same thing whenever people come in and like, well, you know, I've gone to different shops and I'm just looking for the right price. It's like, dude, that is the last thing you should be thinking about. I mean, it's an important factor and it's a realistic factor for sure, but like they think that every tattoo artist is created equal, and that's just not true. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to bring something in that's done in a style that this, you know, there's a guy that I work with, his name is Steve. I think I interviewed him in here a little while back. He is an excellent Japanese tattoo artist. Excellent. And he's always like looking at people whenever they come in. They're like, man, I've seen all your work on Instagram. It looks great. He's like, here's this portrait that I want done. He goes, you've seen my portfolio. Like all I do is Japanese work. That's what I want to do. That's how I tattoo. He's like, I'm not saying that he can't do it, but he's like, I don't want to do it. I want to do Japanese tattoo work. Like come to me for Japanese tattoo work. So that's just an example of like people that they think anybody can do the tattoo for them. Sometimes they're just looking for the wrong reasons to do it. But yeah, I think that goes back to like what Jason is saying about you can't tell everybody how to take care of their stuff afterwards. It's a pretty standardized. It's not a standardized thing. Not everybody wants to take care of the what they just went through. Like it's fine. It's fine. My dog licked it. It's okay. Man.
And that's
Oh.
something that you're starting to see. Oh yeah, I've had stories like that.
I have too, dude.
Yeah.
Man,
I had one client, her tattoo, it was a gorgeous like little orchid that I did, and it was like super, super awesome. Full color, the whole nine, turned out absolutely beautiful. But she works as a dog groomer.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it was on
Oh
a very
man.
exposed high contact area. And I'm like, so how long are you taking off for work, you know, to let this thing heal up? And she's like, what are you talking about? I go back in tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Sure
Mm-hmm.
enough, dog licked the tattoo. Tattoo got infected. We had to wait
Yep.
until that cleared up.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. I have a similar story, Jason. Like seriously, dude, this guy came in. I did this half sleeve on him, black and gray. It was great. I was loving it. We're gonna do the lower forearm and stuff like that. He comes back in like I don't know, a week or two later, and it is so jacked up, dude, that I was starting to be like, did I do that to this guy? What did I do differently? Oh my God, did I like tattoo an area too much? Like it is severely infected. Like it looked bad. Almost to the point where I was like, should I keep tattooing, dude? Because oh my God, I hope I'm not doing this to everybody. Jeez. So I started talking to him. I was like, what happened from the point in time that I tattooed you until now? Like, walk me through this. Like, did you go on vacation? Were you at a dance? Were you rubbing up against somebody that's sweaty or something like that? He's like, what happened? He's like, no, man, I just went home. I had a couple beers when I got home. I took the bandage off, washed it off, sat down on the couch and just watched TV. I was like, that's it. He goes, well, yeah, I mean, my dog was hanging out with me and my dog, like, you know, was licking my arm and stuff like that. I was like, wait, what? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, I mean, their mouths are cleaner than ours is. It's like, no, dude.
Oh, they're not.
No, they're not. That is like an urban legend, man. That is an urban myth, dude. That is their dog does all kinds of nasty things when you're not around. Shit, they even do it when you're sitting right next to them.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And I was like, dude, you got to go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, get some antibiotics, and tell them the same story. Make sure and tell them when you got this tattoo what happened, that I didn't do that to you. Because like, you hear all these horror stories about doctors, especially when you tattoo them, about all these infections and stuff that they see sometimes. It's crazy, especially from tattoos, man. It's wild. Hold on.
I get that a lot with working with ink companies, even down to clients reaching out to the ink company directly. It's wild.
Oh,
I've even
wow.
reached out to you, Jason, before, like, look at this. What is going on? But it's pretty interesting. I've reached out to you more than once, I think.
Yeah.
Just unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I had somebody show up for a tattoo with sun poisoning.
Oh,
Mhm.
man.
I've had that. I had a guy show up. We did a half sleeve on him, which, it wasn't, I think it was like tribal or something. Knocked it out in like 4 hours, whatever. Um, patched him all up, sent him on his way, comes back in a week later. And first things first, I can smell him as soon as he walks through the door. And he smells like a campfire.
Oh,
Yeah, dude just got done going camping for a week
after he got a tattoo.
after getting tattooed. I was like,
Brilliant.
how did you keep that clean? He's like, well, I more or less, I just poured a water bottle over top of it and grabbed my bar of soap and, did a quick lather and, washed it down. And then I put on some cream that you gave me, and then just kind of did its thing. He's like, do you think maybe it was because like I went kayaking while I was out there and got dunked underwater a couple of times in the lake? And I'm like,
Yeah, in the lake. Oh.
people are not as intelligent sometimes as we like to think they are. And that's the reason why I say once that tattoo leaves our line of sight, there's very little actual control, no matter what discussions we have with them. Sometimes people are just going to go out and do their own thing. Because, their friends, brothers, friends, cousins, aunts, former boyfriends, nephews, roommate.
I saw it at 32 colors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they know better and they've gotten tattooed and they asked them. And it's like, but you didn't bother to reach out to me.
Yeah, the tattoo
Yeah.
artist.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go
You
take
guys,
their advice.
Have any of you also healed? Because I healed Guy and Fawn's tattoo with tattoo armor first, and then the next day I put I think it was derm shield on. And that process for my entire side of my leg was so wonderful. Has anyone else used that product, in particular tattoo armor and then the wrap?
I don't think I've heard of tattoo armor.
No.
It's very absorbent. It's like a pad that you just put, and so they put the pad on and then wrapped it, up, and then the next day, all of that wet seepiness that most people detest from something like Saniderm isn't a factor. It's just not a factor. And I healed so quickly and so well and so less annoyed, and it wasn't like a small little tattoo, it was my leg.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I would
Yeah,
recommend
it's,
from a client perspective.
If you're looking at it from a perspective of like comparing it to other things that have been used in the past, tattoo armor is kind of like the old butcher pads.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
chicken diapers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We use those here at the shop, actually.
Exactly. Helps absorb the plasma, which actually works great, Lauren. Thanks for pointing that out. I just haven't heard of the specific brand name of tattoo armor, but I know the
Any brand,
concept.
really, or any concept, yeah.
Yeah, but I know the concept, and the concept is great because essentially what your skin is doing by pushing all that plasma out is it's trying to clean itself, right?
Mhm.
It's pushing out any kind of like anything that it might be trying to reject from your body. It's all that nastiness that builds up and makes it look like someone's walking around with a water packet on. If you just slap Saniderm over top of them right off the bat. It looks like a little mini pool or like a gel thing that you just
Hold
want
on,
to poke
maybe
at.
not the Saniderm. I haven't seen the stretchiness factor. So I did not use Sanoderm specifically
Right,
for
right.
the skin factor. Just throwing it out there to anyone who, as soon as they hear Sanoderm, they're like, nope.
I say
know?
that as a general overarching like concept.
Second skin kind
Not
of stuff.
not necessarily the
Tegaderm.
brand name.
Yeah.
Tegaderm is the original brand name developed by 3M, and then it branched off into all these other brands. But I say that just as like an overarching like type of aftercare, right? So that would include everything like recovery. I've used that. That was decent. Not a big fan of the adhesive on it though, because it doesn't usually stay all that well, just in my experience. Actually, the stuff that I got that I really like the most, I got from True Tubes, True Supply. That stuff was awesome. That stuff was awesome. I really like that. But it's the whole concept of, okay, cool. Your body's pushing out all this plasma. Once that plasma is absorbed, you seal off the tattoo so that nothing else can get inside it.
Yeah.
And let it finish healing in a natural way. Right? Great idea. Awesome.
I have
And
a
as long as it's
question.
clean when that goes on, you're fine.
Does anybody put like say 90% alcohol around the tattoo before they put the shield on? Because that's what I do, and I get pretty good response.
I've used
I've never-
witch hazel
That's pretty much what I was gonna say too. Witch hazel.
Yeah.
just because it doesn't burn.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I have them numbed up so much from the Bactine that I use that they don't really notice it because I just 90%.
I mean, that'll do it.
The
I do that
Sanoderm is
with
great.
to myself though, but I'm a little bit of a masochist, so I don't mind so much.
Most of my clients, they're lifers. They have like 30 tattoos each, and they fall asleep in my chair, and so there's all of that.
I
But
love when a client falls asleep and I can just do what I need to do.
I did a tattoo of Johnny Bravo on a kid. I don't know, he's like 21. He's my cousin. This was a few weeks ago. He said okay. He did okay. But anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Wasn't very Johnny Bravo of him, was it?
Not so much. Yeah.
I saw that Johnny Bravo. It came out really good.
Thank you.
James, were you gonna say something a little bit ago about the bandages and such?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to just sort of like just chime in a little bit. One of my clients, showed me their tattoo, and she says she's in healthcare, so she was actually like a few days later, she put on some product. I'm not sure if I use Dermalize, but it was some sort of another clear bandage, very similarly. The tattoo healed up in like 9 days. It's like healed. It's amazing. So and I mean it was so we did this rework. I mean, it wasn't a huge tattoo, but I mean I really I put a lot of holes in, right? So I was really trying to saturate it. And it was right there, right on the edge of I was worried, like, did I overwork this? You know what I mean? Is it gonna scab real bad? It didn't. It seems to be like it healed really smoothly. It's very vibrant. And so, I saw them in person without the bandage, and then later I saw, like a photograph of put another bandage on it, and it was healing really well. So I think there's more to this, recovery game. There's more to this healing game than we realize. And I think, so certainly, I used to use plastic wrap way back when, and yeah, definitely take it much more seriously now. But I think the only way we're gonna get better results is by continuing this conversation, sharing with each other like the successes and also like sort of the new science that's coming out on it, right? There's real there's real advancements in this particular area.
Mm.
Tattooing is, it's serious business these days. So, yeah, I think that the more that you know.
The more that you
But
know.
it's good to share it, right? The more you
Yeah.
know. But yeah,
Hmm.
keep sharing the information so you really get these these much better results. There's a story that I share, quite a bit. It was really like almost traumatic story. This guy I met one time, he got a tattoo in Japan from Horiyoshi 3. And
Nice.
so his story was that,
No doubt.
stop me if I've mentioned this before, but he said that they worked on it for 7 hours a day for 45 days. But I mean, it was hand done. It's a hand poke thing. But every day they'd go down to the ocean and they would scrub his whole body down with loofah, with like a real one. And so
Wow.
he said it just never, there was no flaking, there was no peeling ever. It just was. And he said it was the worst part, was like, sort of the wiping it down. I mean, was he making it up? I don't know, so this is a story that I tell, but it makes sense, insofar as you're sort of like removing the dermis, or the epidermis rather, right? Sort of exposing the dermis, and it's, kind of like forcing that healing, it's not allowing the scab to really happen, in a certain way. So, I don't know. Again, that's a story, its validity, it may not be here nor there, but as we're working through like best practices, what is the best practice for, for your clients? Yeah, I think it's, there's going to be some, you gotta keep your options open, I suppose. You have to, keep doing research, keep talking to other tattooers and find out what are they doing, especially if they're getting really good results. But it probably does boil down to how you apply it too. It's probably really, it's really like, this super important factor, how well it's applied in the first place. Yeah.
So I think that there are still some more old school guys out there that really kind of see, and this may be coming from a different business perspective than I have, but they see using these new clear plastic films and all that stuff almost as a liability, right? Because if you have an artist that doesn't know what they're doing when they put it on, and if there's still some type of bacteria underneath it, and you tell them, okay, leave this on for 3 days or 4 days or whatever, that essentially turns the skin into a breeding ground for bacteria and can help promote bacterial growth, because you're creating a sealed environment with bacteria with plenty of food, plenty of warmth, right? The perfect ideal environment for bacteria to grow.
Sure.
So and through talking to a couple of different studio owners, some people are of the mindset that, this isn't necessarily a good idea, simply because if the tattoo is not perfectly clean when that stuff goes on, you could essentially turn the skin into a petri dish, and then that could lead to excess liability. And I can see it coming from that perspective, where they want to make sure that, it's a liability issue for their clients, for their studio, and things of that nature. But if that's really your concern, bring in a representative of the company, zoom them
Call
in,
them.
call them, have them on a video, FaceTime them, right? Skype is still a thing. Facebook video chat is a thing. Instagram video chat is a thing.
Google chat.
Google chat, anything. Get them on there, have them walk you through the appropriate process for whatever product it is, right? Have them go over exactly how you prepare the skin to have that put on, exactly when to change it if it needs to be changed, exactly how long to keep it on. It doesn't take a whole lot, and most companies out there are more than happy to go through and do a conference call with you and walk you through everything that needs to be known step by step.
I have a special question, Ricardo. You mentioned one time, like a year ago, something that your attorney mentioned with aftercare. Do you remember what I'm talking about? What
Yeah.
was
It was the adhesives. We were talking about the adhesives, and like, not everybody is going to respond to the same product the same way. It's all a very acute system. You know what I mean? Our bodies are so acute from each other that you're not going to respond the same way from over the counter products as the person next to you. The majority of us will, but there's going to be those individuals that have issues. One of the things that I did is they did mention to contact the company, and I did contact one of the Tegaderm companies, and I did, tell them my concerns about this, and they said that one of the best things you can do is in the consultation process, cut out a little piece, a little 1x1 piece of this second skin, this Tegaderm stuff, put it on an area like on their hand or something like that, or some kind of obscure kind of place, and have them watch it for the next couple days. Have them watch for any kind of reactions, any kind of allergic reactions or anything like that, like redness or soreness or any kind of blistering or anything like that. And then if that's the case, then you just don't use the product, plain and simple. It's always very acute to that individual person. So that's one of the things that I've practiced since then, and it seems to work out pretty well. And I have had clients that are like, yeah, dude, that stuff was terrible. Like it hurt my skin. I had a bunch of blisters and red marks and stuff like that. And you could see where they took the spot off. It was just a clear red square. And that's like pretty much pulling up that skin. You know what I mean? It just didn't respond to them very well. I've had people respond poorly to Scotch tape even. I don't know if you guys have been around long enough to be able to use Scotch tape and plastic wrap like James was talking about, but I did. And some people would have just clear rectangular marks where the tape was in contact with the skin for only a few hours even. You know what I mean? And
sensitive to adhesives of all kind, even with medical tape.
medical tape, especially medical tape. I've seen the worst reactions to medical tape for sure. And it's part of the reason that we've all started switching over to nitrile, for example. You know what I mean? You start to develop allergic reactions to rubber, to latex. You know what I mean? And it's plain and simple. Overexposure of anything is probably going to have some kind of effect on you. So thank you for bringing that up, Lauren, because that's one of the things that I was going to try to talk about today too, especially this conversation is like each client is going to be a very acute person. That's why it's important to have some of those things on your waivers, but these are going to be some of the possibility side effects that you can't handle it. You know what I mean? They might not even realize that they're going to be allergic to it either. Sometimes, think about a person that had no idea they were allergic to bees, but they get stung and then all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, I'm having a fit and I need some help. So like witch hazel even, there's a client in here, the apprentice was working on her and she had this like real bad reaction. Her skin was just so red and irritated when she was doing this little black and gray tattoo, but everything around it was just getting swollen and inflamed. Turns out she's allergic to witch hazel. You know what I mean? One of the most safe things you can use, one of the most natural things we can use as far as the application of the tattoo that we do. She was allergic to it. So it's pretty plain and simple. You just got to be careful. Cover your bases though, for sure. You know what I mean? The lawyer told me to cover your bases. Any product that you use, you want to investigate it. You want to look into it. You want to find out what it's made of. And you want to definitely make that an understood thing whenever this person's getting tattooed. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people want to lay responsibility on somebody for something most of the time and not themselves. So they will come after you sometimes. Gotta be careful with that. And yeah, you're right, Jason. Like, man, it's out of our hands, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I've tattooed people that have big collections. And one of the things that I do at the end of the tattoo session is ask them, how do you take care of your tattoos? Keep doing it. You know what I mean? What's the best result you've had with any of the tattoo work that you've had? What's the worst? What's the best? Stick with the best and just keep doing what you're doing. And I don't give them any instructions at that point. You know what I mean? It's up to them. But I definitely, first timers and stuff like that, we walk through the general process for sure. But I have had really good results on my tattoos with the Tegaderm, like all the second skin stuff too. Seems to work out pretty well. And then you have the people that just cake Aquaphor or like A&D or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's
I
like,
never
Smother it, suffocate
Yeah.
it.
really
Yeah.
didn't like about all the Tegaderm immediately was just that it was just gross. Honestly, I didn't like
Yeah.
that. So getting rid of that factor was, at least personally, pretty awesome.
yeah, definitely, dude. But I have seen some really good results with that meat pack stuff that we were talking about earlier. I've seen some really good things with that. And like what we'll do a lot of times is cover the entire tattoo with those meat packs and then wrap around that area with cellophane and then wrap it with like some Cobond or something like that. You know what I mean? That way there's not too much contact with any kind of adhesive on their skin whatsoever, but it holds it in place long enough for them to for the tattoo to kind of like dry out or be
don't
a little
remember,
safer.
Who or why, and I don't remember exactly, but they were talking about utilizing ice ahead of time before putting that stuff on.
Ah, okay.
Ice packs,
Really?
you know, the soft ones that
Uh-huh.
lay on something and then
Mhm.
wrapping or whatever.
Gel packs.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, 'cause the cold will shrink the pores back.
Yeah. Man, my cold is bad. Sorry, guys.
Here's a
How's it going
question.
with you, Whitney? Oh, sorry, Amber.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. What's up with Whitney?
Yeah, she hasn't said hi yet, and we were all at Resurrection.
Hi guys. You guys were in the middle of a big conversation. I didn't want to interrupt.
Did you have a good time at the tattoo convention?
I did. It was a nice show. It was a lot compact in a little area. It was really nice actually. They put it together well, I thought.
Which
What do you
convention
think
was
of
it?
it?
Was it the same one?
Resurrection, West Virginia.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All you
Yeah.
guys were there. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was a good show. It was well done. It was nice. There's
Yeah,
good
very
performances
sweet.
and stuff.
Very well organized. I really enjoyed it.
That's one of the
Yeah,
coolest
it was
things about
nice.
this, man, is meeting everybody in person, dude. It's so radical, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
you're
Yeah.
not
Kyle
just
even
Kyle
Kyle
was there
stopped
too.
down. Yeah, I didn't
Nice,
even
dude.
know, but you know,
Yeah.
he stopped down and I was like, "Oh man. Awesome. This is great."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I met him. I thought he was pretty cool. He's a cool guy.
Where did we meet him, Jason? Was that at that was at the Paradise Gathering, wasn't it? I think that's the first time I met
Yes.
him in person. Yeah.
Yes, the BYOB.
Yeah. That was an awesome time, dude. What a great time. I got to ride the roller coaster too, so that was good.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to see it, but
Well,
Yeah.
all of you that live in the Midwest, we were brainstorming this weekend. If you guys would like to do like another reinventing event or something like that in my city where I live, which would be Appleton, Wisconsin. I know that
So-
most of you are relatively local.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be down.
West.
I'm
I'll
down.
fly out.
Yeah, Jason, you'd be a little bit further, but you
I'll
know,
fly out though. No
Do
issues.
it.
Yeah, dude.
James, you're
Come
not too
on.
far away. I was just in Indy, yesterday, and it was a quick, easy drive. Same with you, Whitney. Creature too.
Yeah.
Amber, where are you at exactly?
I am in New Jersey, East Coast.
Okay,
Jersey. Yeah. Jersey's
Any-
great.
could remember
Philly
that.
besides Jason?
Yep.
What was the
I
question,
didn't hear you
Amber?
say again.
Anybody coming to the Philly show in January besides Jason, since he is in Philly? Which I'm looking forward to meeting him.
I'd like to come out. Philly's not that far from me. Yeah,
Love the
Philly would
Philly
be
show.
good. I haven't been there in a long time. I was there years ago, but it's been a very long time since I've been to Philly.
I'm just wondering how insanely big it's going to be this year.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
it's always huge.
Yeah, well, every year it seems like it gets bigger. So it's like, at what point in time is it too big? When you have 80 people lining up to
Never too
compete
big.
in best portrait category, like, I
Wow.
disagree. I disagree. I think there is a size where conventions are too big.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for
when
sure.
you're at a show
Or-
and there's 1,500 artists there, right? That
Yeah.
is, it's ridiculous. I think one
Yeah.
of the last years they had it, there were 1,000 booths. 1,000 booths.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last one we went to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
Mm.
pretty big, dude. Like I don't think I even walked through the entire thing.
Yeah.
I
It's,
We were there
Judging is
all
supposed to be
weekend.
enjoyable. I don't think judging that show would be very enjoyable. 1,000 artists, like, that'd be a
Love
lot.
judging. Like last weekend, a lot of the Midwest guys, I don't know how they're doing on the West Coast and some of those Texas shows, but judging is so different. I'm not necessarily a big fan of how they do it, like in Philly and stuff like that.
yeah.
I wonder how long it's going to stay alive, because it seems like a lot of people get either upset, or the crowd involvement is low, or the process itself needs to be changed. You know?
So
I
there
agree. I
was,
think the way that, Durham does it at Health City is really honestly the best way. Like, when you narrow it down to get everybody, like those last few you narrow down to side by side, so you can look at the differences. That's a big deal. How can you remember what you judged so many tattoos back? Like, especially when you have artists that, like 1,000 artists at a show. How
Mhm.
can you remember?
yeah. So the whole lanyard system that a lot of smaller shows are using now. The first time I ever saw that was down in Puerto Rico, and I was talking to Yalzi about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we came up with this system down here to keep everything impartial, because whoever is judging should never know who did the tattoo, right? But you get a
Right.
lot of conventions that are out there where they'll announce, okay, here's so and so entering a piece done by so and so, and it's like you're immediately skewing everything, right? By doing that,
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
keep judging impartial, and when you've got that many
Yeah.
people, and you say you have 5 judges, each judge gets 3 lanyards, right, for the first round. Cool. Go through, and that's going to eliminate, each judge can go through and pick 3 people, right, whose work they really like. Awesome. Those people stick around for round 2. Next round, each judge only is down to 2 lanyards or whatever. So that eliminates another set of people, right? Then after that, now you've got, they cut everything down to 3 lanyards total. 2 of the judges take a step back, 3 lanyards total, win, lose, and draw, whatever. But it was a very impartial way to go about doing that. And having been a part of that system before and holding on to lanyards while being on stage, it's, you don't really keep track. All you know is you're getting handed a lanyard, right? You're not really looking around to see, oh, did so and so get one? Oh, how many do they have? No, you're
Right.
there. Most of the time, you're just worried about your tattoo and like, oh, well, does it still look as good? Like, I'm not touching it with anything, am I? Oh, okay, cool. No, I'm not touching it. It would, it's either that or we're still so sore from getting tattooed that it's ridiculous. And we're just like, can I just get off the stage now? I don't care if I want or not. I just want to get down so I can get wrapped up so I can go and take a nap. That's all I was thinking while I was in Puerto Rico in 2019. I got the back of my thigh tattooed by my friend Devin down there. And we entered it in 2 contests, best neotrad and best tattoo of the day. And I just remember standing up there like, can we speed this up? Like, I've got things to do. Like, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I'm hungry. I need some type of caffeine to keep my eyes open right now. I just want to get done. Can we speed this process up? Right.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up taking home 2 first place trophies for the tattoo that he did on me, which was awesome.
Sweet.
Because he didn't expect to win anything at that show. And he didn't actually know that I entered it in tattoo of the day, but I figured if I was going to enter it in one contest, I might as well enter it in both.
Suffer through it and get it done.
Yeah. But like, he had the same feeling. He's like, dude, I just want to go and lay down for a little while and get something to eat. Like, if I'll stick around to like find out, if we place or not, but I'm just going to go and like huddle in a corner for a little bit and like decompress because that's what I need.
You know
And I
what's
was
funny,
like,
Jason?
yeah.
You're that one type of client, but I've noticed at all these shows, like the clients get to see each other, and it's like a vibe. Like they're on stage, you're like, whoa, that's your tattoo you're entering. Like if you do one at a time, you just don't get that experience.
Yeah, true. Oh no, I was on stage. I had tunnel vision. I had blinders on. Like I wasn't trying to look at anyone else's stuff. I was just
Yeah.
thinking about, okay, when can I go and take a nap? It's like if
Fair
I
enough.
win, cool. If I place, cool. Like I really don't care at this point. I'm sore, cranky, irritated. Let me
I was
go.
on stage for some of the competitions because I was photographing Marissa, and I noticed that like they look and they're like, oh, I get it. That tattoo is better than mine. Or they might not know why, like the design was original or not. They might not know why, but it's a lot less. I mean, it could go either ways, but it's a lot more accepting when they can see it's less political,
I
and
can see
they're
that.
looking
Yeah,
around. They also
can see
gain an
that too.
understanding in local art, maybe, or like what better art is from a different client perspective. Because you're standing there, you're looking at the tattoos, they're exposed. It's a cool thing. I like that style.
Nice.
Yeah, I find that a lot of people around my area, they tend to, well, you like to get what you see around you, obviously. So people get stuck in that certain style in that town, in that area that everybody else gets. Like there's a shop around here years ago when I was just getting started that you always knew when they were tattooed by there because they always had those nautical stars on them, always nautical stars. Anywhere they could fit nautical stars, that's what they covered anything with. And it was like, oh, I know you were tattooed there because they couldn't go outside of the box. That's all they knew how to do. So that's fine. But like that's what makes the difference of what they want when they walk in. And I always try to sit them down and introduce them to other people's artwork, so they get a drift of what else is out there. People tend to get what they see around them, and that's it. Like they stay in that box. That's it.
That's
Not
what Dennis
exposed to
told
as
me.
much work as we are.
Dennis told
Go
me
ahead.
that was one of the main reasons he put the show on for the local.
Really?
Yep, it was a great conversation, but he said that it was kind of awakening up the local community or like semi-local region
Yeah.
for that person.
Yeah, that's a huge need for around here. I mean, we're close to Cleveland, we're close to Akron or whatnot, but in all honesty, everybody does it. When you work and you have this going on and that going on, and kids need to go to, after school sports and whatever. You think that even driving to Akron, which is 35 minutes from here, like, God, it's a long drive there and the back.
Mhm.
So people they don't get outside of their box. And the smaller the towns, the worse that is. I feel, you know what I mean? In your bigger cities, you're used to traveling so much and everything being hustle and bustle. When it's laid back, it's even more laid back. So yeah, it's hard to get people to want something different. So I get how like when they're on stage and they look at other tattoos, like, oh, well, that one's better than mine, and they don't understand why or whatnot. It's because a lot of artists don't educate their clients, and a lot of times the clients don't really care to listen. They just want what they want and they want to roll. I don't roll like that. Like you're gonna sit and listen to my education, or I'm not gonna work on you because that's how you leave here. Then you don't aftercare it correctly, and it doesn't turn out the way it's supposed to because of the way you aftercared it or whatnot. Because you didn't know and you didn't listen to the education, and therefore that reflects me in the end. That's all of our problems, right? In general. And when people don't want to listen, they don't respect your time and your education and what you've been through to learn it. So it's all that respect game, that client artist relationship deal.
Well, guys, speaking of time, I have my client that's going to be coming in pretty soon, so I'm going to have to sign off here pretty quick. But maybe we can walk around the room and say what's up. You guys can let everybody know where to get a hold of you and how to find you. Creature, let's start with you.
Creature's Cave everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
it.
Killer.
That's
I
it.
like it.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thanks for
Whitney.
joining.
Instagram, Iron Rose Tattoo Company. Email Iron Rose Tattoo website .inc, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Amber.
I'm Amber Morgaine, and that's where I am on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also find me under Looking Glass Inc.
Killer. James, give us a shout out.
Cool. I'm James Wisdom. You can find me on Instagram at Tattooing Wisdom. I'm also doing the drawing for tattooers Monday mornings at 9 a.m. on Reinventing the Tattoo. Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. This was a great conversation. So thanks.
Yes, thank
Thanks,
you,
Whitney.
Ricardo.
Thanks, Preacher. Thanks, Amber. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Lauren. This is it's always it's a great community. It's great to be a part of it. So,
Nice to see you, Jason. Your prints are awesome, dude. I'm hanging them up today. They're great.
There you go. Speaking of which, Jason, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey guys.
Dude, he makes some badass prints.
Oh yeah, dude, big time.
Thank you. So I'm Jason Leeser. I host the Sunday afternoon drawing group, the Skill Building Sunday drawing group, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If for some reason you can't see me there, I usually try to jump into James Wisdom's drawing for tattooers on Monday mornings. And there's also the Tuesday Feels with Ricardo Sturdivant. You can find me at any one of those just about any given week, so long as I'm not traveling. This coming Monday and Tuesday, I will be up at the Needle Jig Northeast meetup. So if anyone's going to that, I'll be there. I'm really excited for 2 days worth of seminars. Renee Little's seminar looks like it's going to be absolutely awesome. Mark Lascarbo's Needle seminar sounds absolutely fascinating. So yeah, if anyone's going to be there for that, I'll see you there. Otherwise, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at Philly Inc. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or say hi or what's up or yeah. Stay up to date with my travel schedule by following Instagram. That's where I post like everything. I don't have a TikTok. I mean, I do. I just never post on it. So you're probably not going to get any information there. And I hate video editing. So yeah. But yeah, Ricardo, thank you so much for having me on today, man. Thank you everyone for jumping in today. And yeah, catch up with you guys later in the week.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Jason.
Later,
Thank you,
Jason.
guys. Appreciate all you guys for
Thanks,
jumping
Ricardo.
in. Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Lauren.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
All
Yeah.
right. See you guys soon.
Later.
Lauren,
Take
thank you.
care.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.
Later.